Here's our host, Tian Wei.
Hello and welcome to World Insight. I'm Tian Wei. China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi has spoken with his counterpart, Tanzanian Foreign Minister Liberata Mulamula, earlier this month. The two sides agreed to deepen the bilateral comprehensive cooperative partnership and synergize the Belt and Road Initiative with Tanzania's Development Vision 2025. So, under the current complex and turbulent international situation, how developing countries could strengthen solidarity and uphold multilateralism are crucial topics. In my exclusive interview with Minister Mulamula, she unpacked all these issues with her in-depth perspective. Take a listen. Madam Minister, what a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for the opportunity to connect again. How are you in Beijing?
Very good. The weather is wonderful. The spring is coming, and I know that you had a wonderful visit to China.
Yeah, the virtual visit.
Yes, indeed. During the trip, you were talking together with your Chinese counterpart about how to revitalize the Tanzania-Zambia Railway, which of course has been a great symbol of friendship between China and Africa. Tell me more about your thoughts.
Yes, as you mentioned, we had a very good discussion meeting with State Councillor, and one of the key issues was about Tazara. Indeed, Tazara is a living symbol of China-Africa friendship. We saw how the Chinese, Tanzanians, Zambians, brothers and sisters contributed their sweat, the blood and lives to make it happen. Let me also add that our generation and the hopeful future generation should carry forward the Tazara spirit. Because as I said, this has been our symbol of our friendship. And again, of course, through this spirit, we say Tazara provides a clear example. So again, talking about Tazara, of course, there's still a lot to do to make it more dynamic, more productive, and be able to live to the very reason why it was established. So this is what we spoke with State Councillor, the Tazara, to make it vibrant and live to the spirit of why it was established or constructed in the first place.
Madam Minister, during the Cold War, there was a period of time when many of us are having a second thought of what our world should be like. Now, after it, the developing countries, emerging economies are having stronger voices, including that of China and African countries. Now, at this moment, at the critical juncture of the world, how should we see we can work together for multilateralism and for a balance of voices in our world?
Yeah, in fact, thank you for that question, because as we are speaking, multilateralism has been brought to, it's so challenged, and some even says that multilateralism is under peril, is under distinction. So we as developing countries, we have always stood together with China to have one voice in support of multilateralism. But then what we are seeing reminds us that we have unfinished business, and this never-ending agitation for the UN reforms, because the epitome of multilateralism or multilateral diplomacy is the United Nations. As Africa, we have been championing for the UN reforms, especially the reform of the Security Council that would open space for the rest of the world to be able to participate on an equal basis in the search for international peace and security. So what we have seen recently is the unilateral actions. unilateral actions at the expense of threatening the international peace and security, at the expense of violating the very principles of the United Nations, with the commitment to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war. So this is even now more critical, that we should work together to ensure that we have the reform of the United Nations to keep up with the realities of today's world. And I must also want to add on that in the ongoing UN reforms, we always count on China's role as permanent member, which is key in reorienting the debates from the Cold War mentality and the actions, unilateral actions. So I must say the symmetry of Sino-Africa stance of non-alignment concerning what we are seeing today is even more important, more relevant, and our voice has always been for peace. Our voice has always been give diplomacy a chance.
Some people are worried whether we are in the danger of entering another stage of a Cold War 2.0. What is your thought as the top diplomat of your country? What is your thoughts of being a diplomatic leader from Africa?
Yeah, let me say, of course, we need to avoid going back to the Cold War mentality. We need to avoid splitting the world between the powerful and the less powerful. We need to be able to respect the very principles, again, of the UN Charter, but we need to respect the principles of peaceful coexistence. We need to respect our own territorial integrity, the sovereignty, but we need also to uphold the values of friendship and peaceful coexistence. So getting into the Cold War mentality is not helping us to overcome the challenges of today's. We need to work together. We need to have the voice. We need to have the voice of peace. And this is what is our plea, that we cannot go back to the Cold War mentality.
China and Tanzania, together with many partners in Africa, have been focusing over the years on the issue of development. I understand the Belt and Road Initiative also is likely to be in partnership with the development vision of Tanzania. Madam Minister, tell me more about how will the two wonderful initiatives be wonderfully connected together?
Yeah, indeed, let me say that Tanzania joined the Belt and Road Initiative because we believe that the initiative provides us an opportunity to complement our development strategies by leveraging our comparative strengths. We have a goal, of course, to be a middle-income country. We have succeeded to reach a level which they call low-middle-income country, but our vision and hopeful working with China, with our friends, will be able to reach our desired goal by 2025 to be a middle-income country. And to get there, of course, there are a number of interventions, there are a number of initiatives, there are a number of flagship projects that are all embodied in our 2025 development division. And to get there, of course, as I said, we need industrialization, we need to increase our production capacity, we need to increase our value addition capacity for our products, we need, of course, infrastructure. And that's why you also, where we started Tazara, because that was a very historic infrastructure that was possible through our cooperation. We need market access to be able to achieve our 2020 development vision. All these requirements can be met through cooperation with China, and we believe it can be done through under the Belt and Road Initiative. We believe in this initiative.
We are looking forward to our African counterpart going into middle-income countries and develop even from there. Wonderful vision over there. Having said that, though, there are different thoughts about the Belt and Road. Some were trying to disdain the reputation of Belt and Road Initiative, which is a platform involving many countries already around the world in terms of infrastructure, trade development, interconnectivity. Madam Minister, what is your thoughts about the so-called debate?
Let me say that for us, as I said, we found this initiative very important. As you rightly said, it promotes what in fact the Tanzania priorities are in terms of promotion of investment, in terms of infrastructure development, in terms of getting market access. So whatever is being said, we see it as propaganda. And sometimes when things are working, that's when you have also some quarters trying to distract us from our development vision. So we believe, as I said, in this initiative, and we have seen how it has worked. To connect, for example, we have had a dream to connect the whole of Africa from Cairo to Cape Town. So through this kind of initiative, that's when we see we can achieve even the long-term vision of Africa, to have the Africa we want. And with that big agenda, so we see working with China under these initiatives is how we believe and desire to achieve our vision.
Madam Minister, I understand that China has been establishing the channel of agricultural imports for African countries, which means those produce that are going through this channel is going to have zero tariff. Tell me more about how this is benefiting your country, to what extent, and tell me more about what does this mean for your trade with China, particularly encouraging farmers of your country.
Yeah, let me first of all thank the government of China for opening up the market for our non-resource products, especially, of course, the agriculture, fisheries, livestock products from Africa, from Tanzania to China. And for Tanzania, we also want to thank China for allowing us to export soya beans, for example, coffee, cashew nuts, sesame seeds, spices, seafoods from Tanzania, which we are hoping will be able to enter a wider market of China. And of course, when you are able to export, but also we will be seeing more job creation and improving the livelihoods and eradicating poverty, because this is forward and backward linkages we see in terms of export, but also in terms of building our production capacity, building our value addition capacity through industrialization. So again, we want to thank China for opening up its big market to our products, to our non-resource products through this green channel.
We understand there are some attempts to interrupt the global supply chain and the production chain. We also understand there were attempts to paralyze the international trade system. Now, as a developing country from Africa, Madam Minister, what do you make of these difficulties and challenges it seems that are facing emerging and developing countries when we are trying to benefit from the international system that we have been contributing to?
Yeah, of course, there have been challenges. You know that through the WTO, World Trade Organization, most of the developing countries thought that would help us as a framework to be able to remove the trade barriers that are being established, but also to be able to equal the playing field, but also for us to emerge from being exporters of raw materials. But then I think you are aware that Africa decided to have its own continental free trade area. The majority of African countries, include Tanzania, have ratified that important treaty, and that is opening up that, because we have been doing trade between Africa and the West and Asia, but we did very little of trade among ourselves. So through this Continental Free Trade Area, we are opening up trade among ourselves. And it's easy to remove the non-tariff barriers that stand in the way for smooth trade when you are discussing among your neighbors, among your brothers, it's easier. So we have a lot of hope through this newly established free trade area to boost trade among African countries. Because now we'll be having a population of almost 1.5 billion people. So if we can trade among ourselves, maybe we don't need to be so much preoccupied with the trade barriers that are being put by other countries in the West and the other areas. So we are now more focused so that we can trade with you, but then after go as Africa, as a continent. So this is what we bring to you, that Africa is ready to trade among itself, but also trading with our friends and partners like China.